one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on blingin' she ice. Freeze, photo, please, no photos. G's, no, please, no photos.
Thank y'all so much for joining us here at Chad's Media. We are live from Gerald Prim Stadium. Ryan, for those of you, we want to say thank y'all. For those of you who hung out with us last week, for those of you that are brand new, I'm Tyler Lennon. I'm here as always with my favorite person to spend Friday nights with, Ryan Humphreys. Ryan Humphreys?
Yeah, there you go.
Ryan, it's week 2. Wildcats are 1-0.
1-0, yeah, Tyler, I'm happy to be here, man. You can't win them all unless you win the first 2, so the goal tonight is to go 1-0. I'm pretty excited about the opportunity to be up in the booth and root on the Wildcats again.
Absolutely. Now, we have a ton to get to here in the pregame portion of this show, but first we want to give a huge thank you to the people that make it happen. The people like Toby Boatman Garage Doors, Commercial Glass and Mirror, David Gideon, who we had with us last week, Ryan, and of course our good friends over at Discount Wheel and Tire. Ryan, we have a lot of stuff to get to tonight, but we want to introduce, we had Rusty Harden with us last week.
Yes.
I think we're going to go down to the field and hear from Rusty.
All right, ready? Let's go live to Rusty. We're ready now.
Okay,
Here we go. Hang on.
And we'll check in with Rusty here in a second, Ryan. Like we said, Wildcats are 1-0. Mount Pleasant also 1-0. This is a big game.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime that Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant get together, it's a big game in any sport. It's been a couple years since they've played, but I know that one of my least favorite losses in my high school career came at the hands of Mount Pleasant, and one of my favorite wins of my high school career came against Mount Pleasant. So it's always a fun one when Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant get together.
Oh, absolutely. And I've already seen coaches like Keenan Clayton and Tyrick Rollison mention it as well. I think we are ready to go down to Rusty Harden on the field now. So let's hear from Rusty. Feeling good.
Live.
I don't have his audio. I'm coming back to you guys. Ryan, we'll be hearing plenty from Rusty throughout the course of the night. Like we said, we have a lot to get to. Before we do, though, we said we're going to be introducing you to our sponsors along the way. We want to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Toby Boatman Garage Doors. It's a family-owned and operated business that has served Hopkins County and surrounding areas for 20 years. They provide high-quality and long-lasting work, which you can find examples of on Facebook. Give them a call or text at 903-348-6170 for all your residential and commercial garage door needs, including installation and repairs. No matter how big or small your job is, Toby Boatman Garage Doors will fix you up. Ryan, we've talked about Mount Pleasant a little bit. I think it's time to talk about our Wildcats.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tyler, I'm excited. Mount Pleasant it's going to be a good one tonight. They're 1-0 just like the Wildcats. I think that Mount Pleasant is really going to try to establish the run. It looks like last week they had a runner that went over for 100 yards. Had some quarterback troubles last week with maybe an injury or two last week, but he's good to go tonight, so should be good for the Wildcats.
You mentioned rushers that had 100 yards last week. Malachi Rowland also had a huge week, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I've been trying to tell everyone the kid is a beast, but he proved it in week 1.
No doubt, and I think that it sounds like that C.J. Williams is going to be a go tonight, so I think that's going to maybe lighten the load for Malachi, so he's kind of put in a better position to really break a couple. Last week they really pounded the rock with him. Don't be surprised to see Brady Driver also use his feet. Did that really well last week, but I think that there might be some air action tonight.
So I did want to ask you, having CJ back, how much do you think that changes the game plan? Because like you said, I think Malachi is always going to get a ton of touches, but last week he had a ton. How much do you think that changes the game plan this week?
Well, it changes tremendously. I think anytime that you can add a CJ Williams into the mix, that's only a positive. I think that Malachi is going to benefit from that because the defense has to focus on that. And you had multiple contributors last week: Cooper Faircloth, Jackson Hare. That's just to name a couple. There's multiple people that caught the ball. So adding C.J. Williams into the mix, getting him the ball outside, possibly seeing you at some running back, I think that's going to help Malachi.
I think so as well. Like you said, just kind of getting everybody involved. And we saw them try to mix things up, not trick plays, but, plays where you'd have 2 running backs in there, but still get the ball to Malachi. I think having CJ really, really, really opens up your playbook in terms of what you can do.
No question. And, who knows how much he'll play tonight, whether he's on a snap count or full load. But anytime CJ touches the ball, that's going to be a good thing for the Wildcats.
Absolutely. Now, I want to talk about the defensive side of things. The defense couldn't have been better last week. Came out, got a bunch of 3-and-outs early. We saw them force turnovers. It's hard to expect them to play that way every week, but they set the tone.
No question. Obviously, it starts with the guys up front. I don't think that the box score is going to show that they did much last week. But if you're watching the game, you know that really throwing into stress, and that was a really tough night with a group of really good wide receivers.
Absolutely. Like you said, and we mentioned this in the broadcast, if you were to just look at the box score, it wouldn't look like the defensive line was done. But one, I think you and I agree that sacks are kind of an open.
No question. One kid that did light up the box score is last year's player of the game, Riley Hammonds. 2 receptions, over 10 tackles, and the really fun block PAT return for a 2-point conversion. So if he could do half of that tonight, I think that'd be really good for the Wildcats.
Oh, absolutely. If you were Riley, how hyped are you coming into this game? You just had one of the biggest games, and that was only week 1.
No question. I told Riley after the game last week, I said, you're going to get to practice a lot in interviews if you keep playing just like you did. We're going to be talking to you post game quite often.
When you have a vocal leader like him, because Riley's very much a vocal leader of this team, him having those kind of performances, how much does that help carry over to the rest of the team?
It's huge, man. Anytime, and I told him, obviously playing great on the field is very important, and that's how you win football games. But how you have a successful season is being a leader on the sidelines, being a leader during the week practices, and Riley seems to have kind of that gravitational pull that a leader has, and these guys react to that, and I think that success is contagious. Energy is contagious. Energy is the most contagious thing in all of sports, and that's negative or positive. That can go both ways. So, like I preached last week, tonight's going to be a roller coaster. There's going to be highs and lows. It's all about staying level, and that's not a key, humps keys to victories tonight, but it's always
have to wait for those.
Right. But it's always a key to victory is you got to stay level.
So I wanted to ask, you have experience in this, and you kind of mentioned it last week, but early in your career, maybe your sophomore season, you're coming off this 1-9 year, you didn't get a ton of wins, and then you come out, you win that opener. How much of a difference does that make? How are these kids feeling after a year of not winning and now coming out and immediately getting that win?
They know what a win feels like, Tyler. And winning games, it's all about it's really the difference in a couple plays down the stretch. First, second, third quarter, there's huge plays in those moments, but at the end, there are 3 to 4 game-defining plays, and whichever side makes them is going to win the football game more times than not. And so Sulphur Springs got a taste of that last week. Tonight will be no different. This is going to be a close game. Anytime you get two, right up the interstate rivals together, right. It really doesn't matter what one side has and what the other doesn't. It's going to be a close game.
Oh, absolutely. And you had mentioned learning how to win. They obviously kind of got the chance to do that. How big really is that? Because again, I think we had mentioned that team felt different than the one from last year. The one from last year very well might not pull that game out. Jacksonville came out with a ton of momentum early in that second half, but they stayed calm, they learned how to win, and now they have that experience.
Well, they just showed a different level of maturity, and I talked about that with Coach Faircloth after last week's win. And it's all ifs, ands, and buts before the game. We think we can win. We hope we can win. I think we can win. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter unless it happens. And so having that feeling, knowing that they can win, and they did win, that's huge going into week 2.
Now, you had mentioned staying level. That goes both within the game and from week to week. How tough do you think that is? Because I'm sure they're riding very high right now. But you got another one. You get a chance to do it again tonight. But you gotta stay calm. You gotta come out and win.
No question. And I talked about the importance of enjoying last week. Don't be a statue. It's a big deal that they won week 1. You don't have to be this robotic. Oh, I'm looking towards next week. There's a certain time and place for that. And I'm sure that at Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday's practice, they were amped up and ready to roll for this week.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely. Like we said, we have a ton to get to throughout the course of this pregame show, but I wanted to introduce some more of our friends along the way. A man that we got to have in the studio or in the booth with us last week, David Gideon, and the good people of Commercial Glass and Mirror. Commercial Glass and Mirror, like I said, owned by David Gideon. We got to talk to him a ton. If you're looking for the best residential and commercial glass replacement services around, call Commercial Glass and Mirror at 903-885-2661. You can find them on the service road. Here at Chaz Media, we love Commercial Glass and Mirror, and we know that y'all will too. It was a blast to get to have him up here last
No
week.
question. Anytime that a fellow Texas Longhorn fan can be up in the booth with me, I'm all for that.
Absolutely. Now, we might have more people in the
Yes.
booth,
Yep.
throughout the course of the season.
We'll see.
We don't want to give anything away.
Right.
But, all right, Ryan, we've talked a little bit about both, but again, I kind of want to really harp in on a little bit more Mount Pleasant. They're also 1-0, and if you look at people like Dave Campbell's and that kind of thing, they are predicted to win.
Mm-hmm.
You come out here, you're 1-0, a chance to play on the road against a team that just got a win. This is a huge game for them as well.
No question. And even though we're not in the same district, there's still that rivalry. I mean, it's college football-esque. I know that it's college football season now. Thank the Lord that all football is in full swing. But yeah, Sulphur Springs Mount Pleasant is always going to bring a good football game, and it's a huge game going forward for Mount Pleasant. They play in a tough district this year, the district that Sulphur Springs primarily was in, the one that I played in, and so it's big. Even though it's non-district, both sides really want week 2 tonight.
How much do you think that they can feel that? Because it is weird. You are used to being in a district with each other in a lot of the sports, and now you're not. Like, it definitely still has that rivalry feel, though.
No question. Again, they're so close in proximity. These guys have run track against each other. They've played 7-on-7 against each other. These opponents are familiar, and so I really think that that's going to show tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Ryan, we've talked a bunch. We've hyped up that your keys to victory might be on the way. I know that's something that people are ready for every single week. So I think, without further ado, why don't we get into Hump's keys to victory?
Okay, Tyler. Number 1, we're going to go with throw and catch the ball. And what I mean by that is as simple as it sounds. Throw and catch the ball. Last week we had so much success running, and I think tonight that's going to be a huge key. But I really think that Sulphur Springs can stretch this out if they put the ball in the air and they're able to come down with it. You've got weapons. You've got C.J. Williams, Cooper Faircloth. Talk about Cooper Faircloth last week. What a huge night for him over the middle. And
arguably the biggest play of the night.
And they were throwing and catching the ball. So I think that's a huge key for tonight.
Before you continue, I do want to ask, having CJ back, I mean, that's huge for everybody. That's huge for a Cooper,
no
for
question.
A Jackson, for
No
all
question. That's less eyes on them because you have to pay attention to CJ Williams with that type of talent. Tyler, number 2, we're gonna wreak havoc in the backfield. Okay, last week, McCown, the Jacksonville quarterback, he was in distress all night. Okay, he couldn't set his feet, couldn't get reads. He seemed like he was just kind of chunking it up, throwing up a prayer. The more that the Sulphur Springs front 7 is in the backfield, the better for the defense because no quarterback wants to start his progression looking at plays, thinking about, where's the defense at with a giant defensive tackle in his face. That's going to go really well for the Sulphur Springs defense if they're able to be in the backfield. And number 3, my personal favorite, special teams. We saw last week that special teams can really change the flow of the game, so I'm challenging Sulphur Springs to make an impact play on special teams, whether that's a turnover, whether that's a return, anything. Make an impact play on special teams because you would be shocked at how big that plays into the determining factor of who wins a football game.
Absolutely. Like you said, you had talked with Coach Faircloth after the game, and he made a point they really focus on it. It is a third of the game. And
absolutely.
I feel like some people kind of overlook that, but no, it is 1/3 of the game.
Especially at the high school level, Tyler. It's not every kick's not a touchback. Every field goal inside 30 isn't an automatic make. There are big plays, and so cause a bad snap, cause a big return. That will be huge in determining who wins tonight's game.
Oh, absolutely. Ryan, I think people have seen enough of us. We're probably going to go down to the field here in just a second. But first, again, want to read some quick words from our friends over at Discount Wheel and Tire. Discount Wheel and Tire offers a full line of Michelin tires. When you're looking for the right tire, the choice is easy. Michelin packs more science into their tires to bring together safety, durability, fuel efficiency, and performance without trade-offs. Match the right tire with the right service today. Discount Wheel and Tire, proudly serving our Wildcats for over 25 years. And Ryan, while we're at it, we're already hearing some words from our sponsors. I think we should hear a word from our good friends over at Alliance Bank.
Since 1927, Alliance Bank has been serving customers throughout North Texas. Our community banking roots run deep, and we are here to serve you. Welcome, my name is Keith Shirtliff, and I am the Market President for Hopkins County. Here at Alliance Bank, we offer all of the products and services you would expect from a large, impersonal national bank, but with the personal service you would expect from a community bank. So give us a call. Stop by or reach out through alliancebank.com. We look forward to serving you.
Ryan, we are 15 more minutes to kick off. It's about that time. I always get really excited about this time of the game. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, no question, Tyler. You've got the drill team out there, got the cheerleaders. The players they're getting ready in the locker room. We talked about last week. What's your go-to pre-game music hype? That's what moment is happening right now.
Oh, it 1,000% is. I think, unless I'm mistaken, we're getting to hear a little bit of All-Star by Smash Mouth.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It is. Was that even in your time, or was that like before your time?
That's a little bit before me. It seems like I might remember that a little, but certainly not in my pregame hype list.
Fair enough. I wouldn't have expected that too. But then again, I was very much like a 90s music kind of guy, and that was, kind of before. I am a 90s kid.
Again, we're not gonna talk about how much older you are than me. That's what we decided.
I appreciate that, Ryan. I think all the viewers probably noticed it with my gray hair, but I got to point out, dude, the way we have our tunnel with the helmet and everything, I am digging theirs. Theirs is nice.
Yeah, no doubt. We need to get ours up.
Yeah, we do need to.
I think we've got the white on white helmets tonight. Mount Pleasant. Everything's different than when I was in high school. Mount Pleasant they were always black helmets. We were always blue helmets, and now they're both wearing white. It's quite the change up.
It is quite the change. Now, do we have any updates on the uniform situation? Because everyone.
It looks like we're still rocking the official freshman jerseys, but I'll offer this: we're 1-0 in those uniforms, and
You're
so
right.
I'm kind of a superstitious guy. Hard word to say, but
Are you superstitious or a little stitious? Super. I'm superstitious.
I don't know.
I'm
well, you're a big baseball fan, and
That's
I
true.
feel like baseball guys are all like that. I'm a man of routine. If something is going well, who am I to change it? And so I'm good with the same uniforms tonight.
No, I feel you. Maybe just stick with them until you have a reason not to.
Right.
I'm sure they paid money for these new uniforms and everything, but if what you're wearing is working, might just have to stick with it. Ryan, a lot of pregame festivities as always. Gotta ask. I think I asked you this last week, but can you kind of put us in the head of like the players getting ready to go out that helmet? Like, what is that? What's that energy like?
It's a butterfly feeling, man. Again, I think with anything like sports, if you're not nervous, then it's not important enough to you. I played, again, so many college football games, so many high school games, and every single one of them I was nervous. And when it wasn't because I wasn't ready or I didn't feel prepared or I didn't think I could do it, I cared so much of the outcome. I wanted to play so well that I was nervous. It was just an ultimate butterfly feeling.
Like further to that point, I think we still get it now being on this end of it.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a different feel for me, that's for sure. I told you last week that I was very envious of everyone that's getting to play tonight. Sam Houston opens up with Texas A&M tomorrow, which it'll be the first time in a very long time that I won't be suiting up. So that's a change for me, but I'm so thankful that we get to do this, that we get to bring you guys a really fun way to watch the game if you're not here at Gerald Prim tonight. But that's a
Commercial Glass and Mirror is actually asked if we had a few minutes at some point in the night. We have a few minutes right now. We can kind of preview that game. We got Sam Houston State and Texas A&M. That's a huge one to start the season off with.
No question, man. What an opportunity. Regardless of the outcome, that's going to be a good one for Sam Houston to get to play at Kyle Field. That's kind of a dream scenario. I don't know how tomorrow will go. I know that Sam Houston will be ready. They've played some big games in the last couple of years, but 75% of that national championship team is gone, and so kind of a new roster. I would have loved to have played them with that group, but it should go, it should go about like you think potentially.
Yeah, I would think so. And, of course, that's a big one, for A&M as well. Granted, it's a big year for them. It's always the big year for A&M.
I was going to say, it seems like we've seen this before.
Yeah.
I would expect more of the same. Now, I'm one to talk. The Texas Longhorns love doing the same thing. But Texas A&M, they're number 6 in the country this year. I could see them, losing 2 or 3 games, if we're being honest.
Fair. I mean, I'm an LSU fan, so I don't really have
right.
any
Okay.
room
Well,
to be saying anything right now.
I'm not an A&M fan, and so I hope that your Tigers are better than A&M this year.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that's the hope and the goal every single year. Every single year they play each other as the final game of the season. So that's always
Who does LSU have this weekend?
FSU. Florida State.
Oh, that's a big one.
It kind of is. They're in a very similar situation, I felt like. 2 teams that are
No, that one's on
prestigious
Sunday,
and-
actually.
Yeah,
I think.
that's the Sunday.
Yeah, well, that's fun.
That's
fun. Yeah, no, that's a good one.
It's fun.
College football is better with LSU and Florida State and Texas and Miami.
I agree.
College football needs those programs to be good.
I agree. I think it makes it especially fun that it's on Sunday for me this year because that means the first real college football Saturday of the year. No stress. Just getting to watch. Just getting to watch and enjoy. And then we can worry about the stress the next day.
Exactly. Now, Tyler, we're less than a week away from the kickoff of the NFL season.
We are.
I am. And you know me, big college guy,
Mm-hmm.
love my Texas high school football, but at heart, I'm an NFL fanatic.
Yeah.
Big NFL guy. And so I'm excited for that. Fantasy football, had all my drafts. Those went well. But I am elated for the Cowboys to start their season.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, man. Also very much a Dallas Cowboys fan. We all are, I feel like we all are. Getting to that point, just a little over 9 minutes before we get started, Ryan. We got Mount Pleasant, their players starting to fill up.
I got some bad blood for Mount Pleasant, Tyler. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be very respectful tonight. But I didn't like him in high school.
Right.
And I don't like him now. So
It's still
I had some great battles with Mount Pleasant over the years. Beat him my senior year at Mount Pleasant, probably the coldest high school game I ever played. That was to stay alive for the playoffs. Knocked them out of playoff contention. That was a big one. Threw a 47-yard touchdown to Simeon Taylor. It was a fun game. Baseball, we had some good ones. We had some good ones, Tyler.
I believe that. Which we shouldn't be too make it too clear how we feel. I feel like we have a decent amount of Mount Pleasant viewers tonight.
I hope so.
And if that's the case,
No, I hope
thank you all
so.
so much for hanging out with us.
Listen,
we're
I
happy to have you.
am a Sulphur Springs fan first, but I am a football fan. 1A to 1B. I am a football fan, and so I hope that last week, if there were any Jacksonville listeners, they felt like we called it like we see it.
Right.
I'm a football fan, Tyler, and so I think that this is going to be a great matchup. Again, we talked about in the pregame. Anytime these two teams get together, it's going to be a fun one, and I expect that tonight.
And I do want to ask you what it looks like. Your Sulphur Springs Wildcats are starting to fill out into the helmet, starting to get ready. Of course, we only have 7.5 minutes before we get going. And, of course, I do want to remind everyone, or if you haven't watched this before, you wouldn't know. But, of course, during the prayer, during the national anthem, we will be, off the mic, and we will let all of that. And for all of you, again, who are watching for the first time, if you are excited for that Wildcat band, which we all are, we will make sure that you get to see every single second of that. We don't want to miss the Wildcat band, and we want to make sure that y'all don't have to miss them either. Them, the Blue Blazes, all of that.
Absolutely, Tyler, and we got a lot of feedback this last week about the first broadcast, and I pretty much heard mostly positive things. Maybe I'm being biased, but I think that last week went really well, and a big part of it is just the accessibility for people that aren't able to come. Grandparents, cousins that live far away, whatever it may be, to get to see their, relative or friend perform tonight, whether that be football, Blue Blazes, band, cheerleading, whatever it may be.
Right. You come here, whoever it is that you're, looking for, or rooting for, hoping to see, you're going to see something great, no matter, again, who it is. And Ryan, for the second time this year, here come your Sulphur Springs Wildcats. Just the two S's.
The 1-0 Sulphur Springs Wildcats, Tyler.
I like the way that sounds. That has a nice ring to it.
Now, Tyler, I was usually a end of the pack guy. You see Brady Driver kind of leading the troops out from the back. I don't know. I just kind of that. I wanted to be the last guy out. Just really soak it up as much as I could. It's gonna be a fun one, Tyler. I got high hopes for this one.
That's probably the closest I've ever seen the two teams run out at the same time. Mount Pleasant was like right behind Sulphur Springs. They're like, y'all done? Okay, we're going. I was gonna ask, is that mainly a quarterback thing to be at the back of the pack? I feel like it is.
I feel like it is. Like I said, that's what I did. We just saw Brady Driver do it. So,
Speaking of,
who knows? I'm not going to put quarterbacks all into one section. They're not all the same guy.
You're right. That was my fault. We had mentioned Brady Driver. I think we are getting ready. Mount Pleasant seems to be ready for the national anthem. As soon as we're ready for that.
I'm ready for the national anthem.
I am too. That means that's like nothing makes it feel more real than
absolutely.
We're ready to go.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it looks like they are lining up. I think we're about to get ready for all of that. So of course we're going to tune in for all of that, and then Ryan and I will be back.
Invocation will be given by Junior Alexis Stanton, and remain standing for the national anthem to be led by the Sulphur Springs High School Wildcat Band under the direction of Spencer Emmerich.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, as we gather here tonight under the light, we ask that you surround this place with all home with your mighty hands. Everyone on the local field has a special purpose created by you, and we ask that you place your hands of protection on each player, coach, drill team members, cheerleaders, student body representatives, administration, and fans. Let us keep our eyes on you and move accordingly to your will. For our ultimate purpose is to glorify you. We ask for your forgiveness of all the ways we have failed, and provide us with the strength to overcome the darkness, to be able to let the light shine from us to see. Thank you for blessing us each day. In your name we pray. Amen.